And I'm going to open up the floor. We don't have much time, so I'm going to take 3 questions. And if you could please keep the questions short. Again, it's just because of the limited time. I know it's a very rich present, the presenters were very rich, but we can only have 3 questions, please. Yes, over here. If you could just say your name and...
Yeah, I'm
Thanks.
David. Thank you very much. Very interesting panel. I guess my question is mostly for Monique and Neil, but maybe Umi can say something about it as well. Talking about ancestral forces that remain and shape the present and the future, what is, according to you, the level of awareness of the historical roots of the music? We have heard that earlier in the keynotes that music is probably borderless, but still it is important to acknowledge probably the roots. How does this acknowledgement happen, if it does?
I think in the case of Toronto and the Toronto hip-hop scene is that because the sound systems have been so influential, both musically and visually, and those visuals have been represented in the videos by Mishimi and Cardinal Official and others, that the awareness is actually quite strong. Whereas if you're watching hip-hop scenes developed in other cities, in the States and so forth, that connection to the original sound systems that Kool Herc would have been brought up on, I think is much more abstract. But because of music video and because of visual and sonic signifiers so popular in the videos of Cardinal and Mishi and others, there are a lot more. They're the primary 2, I would say, preceding Drake, but then Drake's a special case. So that's what, I beg your pardon? Oh, very special, yeah. So that's what I would say. I would say it is just 25, 30 years of a repetitive visual and sonic sound system and reggae signifiers, and the Jamaican community in Toronto just being very aware of that lineage and spreading to everyone else that's that are music fans, reggae and hip hop and so forth.
Okay, confession time. One of the slides actually was missing from my presentation. So when I think about whether or not, are you talking about Jamaican music in particular? Is it kind of consciously kind of used in the music? Okay, right. So in the British context, being Jamaican has a degree of cultural capital. So when I was teaching, there'd be students that would come and be like, "Wagwan, miss," it's just Wagwan standard, kind of slang. It's part of the slang. So you'd find MCs in the UK, you also use Jamaican patois. They will, and it doesn't matter where they're from. So there is a certain cultural capital that is there with that. So even if you're not Jamaican, you want to use it because it's a done thing and it will help you kind of solidify your place as, in with the in crowd. But then you also have those who, especially with grime, a lot of the pioneers in grime, their dad was in a sound system in some way, shape or form. So they have that kind of authentic connection. And I suppose because it's cool, because it's a done thing, everyone wants to kind of, I don't know if appropriate is the right word, but they want to show that they got that kind of capital. Sorry, can I get your question again? Or your statement again?
I think you answered it.
Oh, okay.
So
all right. Okay, cool. Thanks. All right, fine.
Were there any other questions, or are we going to end it here? Any other questions? Umi, maybe you wanted to, because I thought perhaps very quickly, the question that, what was your name? David asked, I thought it was also very relevant in terms of, that the way you brought sort of a different spin, because you brought it within a spiritual context and you were able to show that diaspora linkage and roots. You want to speak to that very quickly?
In terms of, people being aware of their predecessors, that's definitely a strong element in the Cuban Orisha tradition, right? One set of bata drums for sacred use has to be born from another, or, a singer worth his or her salt, is expected to have sat at the feet of some master singer before, and you know, I'm here in Jamaica learning, but what I've seen of the sound system business is that it's very similar in terms of kind of batteries of people who are dedicated to the business, whether you're a box man or you're carrying speakers or working your way up through the ranks, or whether you are just beginning as a selector and you're responsible for the early run-ins of the dance up to some certain time when the big man them come, that kind of a thing. So I think this notion of kind of a process toward mastery and an idea of a place in a lineage is present in both.
Okay. All right. I'm going to end it right here again because of time. And if, the presenters are available so you could speak with them. All right. So enjoy your lunch.